removed the fibroids. We waited for some time for my body to heal, and we started trying again, and it still took a long time to get pregnant. Wow. So now I have like a fibroid-free uterus. Let's have a baby. Yeah. I wasn't getting pregnant.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Sincerely with me, Dankyi. I hope you all are doing well. If you forgot what this podcast is about, it's basically about having just honest conversations. I mean, obviously using wisdom with what is being shared, right? But just for people to leave edified and empowered, you know, whatever the circumstance may be. So in this episode, this is kind of like a Mother's Day special type of thing, you know? So in this episode, we're going to be discussing infertility, fibroids, PCOS, and I think that's pretty much it. So right now, the special guest that I have with me is Mabel. So I've been following Mabel on Instagram for a very long time, okay?
Really?
Yeah, I really have.
Okay.
I've never like met you face to face where I'm like, this is Mabel within her services. So I think why I started following you was because of like the information you're putting out there about pregnancies and things like that. And I'm like, hey, who is this Ghanian woman that is even talking about things like this on social media?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you guys, this is Mabel of Within Her Services, and you could just provide a little bit more details about Within Her Services, and then we'll go into the topic.
No problem. So my name is Mabel Basharan. I am a wife, a mother. I'm also a nursing student and a birth worker. More details in regards to what I do, I'm a doula. Okay. And a doula is a person who provides emotional, physical, and informational support during pregnancy and beyond. And so the name of my business is Within Her Birth Services.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's a mouthful. But if you're looking for me, it's Within Her Birth Services. And so I've been a doula for about 5 years now.
Wow.
I feel like I kind of forced myself to be more vocal about it on social media a couple of years ago. But in terms of supporting families, I've been doing that for about 5 years now. Wow. And it may change in the near future. Okay. But right now I'm in nursing school with hopes of going on to continue more education in regards to women's health.
Wow.
And so that's a little about me. I think I said I was a mom and a wife and all that stuff. I'm married to a wonderful husband. We've been married for about 10 years now.
Wow.
Yes. Yes, this is my 10-year anniversary this year.
Wow, my cousin's 10-year anniversary is...
Yeah, yeah, we got married 2013.
Wow.
Yes, yeah. So a wife of 10 years. I have 2 small boys. Yes, 2 and 4. And yeah, we're blessed. We're grateful.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was 10 years.
Yeah, it is 10 years.
Even when you hear 10 years, it sounds like, whoa. Like, well, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was like, whoa, I didn't suspect that. I didn't suspect that one.
Yes, yes.
Wow. Okay, so number one, thank you so much for coming on my podcast today. You don't know how much I appreciate this. You don't know how much I appreciate this.
I receive it. Thank you for even wanting me. This is a huge honor.
Yeah, I was like, let me text her really quick on IG. Message her really quick on Instagram. So, what made you start your business, and then we'll transition over to the topics.
Yeah, I guess my story will naturally go into the conversation of infertility and so forth. So I got married. I was 26 when I got married, which I don't think is young or old. I just think it's a nice, normal range of life to be married. And I had a lot of friends in my life who were also getting married around the same time. And they started getting pregnant and having babies, and so naturally I started to get very intrigued with like what was going on with them, because you know, we're girls, we grew up together, and now we're becoming moms, so it's so cool to see your friend transform before you. And I would say that all of my friends at that time, they had healthy, beautiful pregnancies, but their deliveries were left, their experiences in delivery were complicated. And when I started to see that happening over and over again, I was like, is this normal? Like, do people just have normal pregnancies and they go on to have like these traumatic experiences? And so it kind of piqued my interest in regards to what's going on with our bodies. What is my uterus doing? What does my period really mean? Because we go through it, you know, I got my period at 12 years old. Like, you just live with it. But you never really think about, like, what is happening, what's normal, what's not. What it takes, we know how to get pregnant, but like what does it take to sustain a pregnancy? What does it take to have a healthy, you know, delivery? All of those things. So I just started reading. I'm a former teacher, so I have a natural curiosity for learning, and I just started reading, and one day some book or something talked about a doula. And when I started digging deep, I was like, oh, that's what my friends need. They need a doula. And so honestly, that's what it was. I trained to be a doula because I wanted to help my friends. It wasn't like I was trying to make a business out of it. I was just like, I think it would be nice to have somebody with you while you're pregnant and when you're having a baby, just to be there to provide support. And so it was for my personal interest, but it was also for my you know, small community of friends who I think could have benefited from it. And to be honest, it was my girlfriends who propelled me in this work. Like, they trusted me immediately. I didn't know nothing. Like, I was still working as a teacher. I was still like going to classrooms and teaching, and then they'll be like, oh, I'm in labor, and I'm like leaving work early to go help a friend in labor. So it wasn't like I quit my job or did anything. I just stepped into it. And they received me warmly, and not even to brag, they all had amazing deliveries. And I'm not saying this because of me, but I think it's because of having that continuous support. It kind of gave them the confidence and readiness to go through such a vulnerable time in life. But at the same time of my friends getting pregnant and going through those situations, I too was ready to have my own family. And one day I went in for a blood test, totally unrelated to pregnancy. It was just a blood test for something else. And the doctor called me back and she's like, are you okay? Did you faint? Did you pass out? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you need to go see your OBGYN because your hemoglobin is so low. And so I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But I did it.
What's the
hemoglobin is your blood count.
Okay.
Right. And so when they're drawing blood, also they're also trying to see the amount of your blood stores. Right. And interestingly enough, I had done the blood draw during my period. So I'm assuming that I had probably lost a lot of blood already, and so when they were drawing the blood, it just kind of added into the low count. But it shouldn't have been as low as it was, even on my period. So, and mind you, I'm a young woman, 26, 27, newly married, and I had been going to my OBGYN appointments every year, like, you know, clockwork. Yeah, I did it. I was just doing all the things, and I never had any cause or reason to be concerned because my doctors never told me this is a cause or reason to be concerned.
Did you feel any differences in your body though?
I'm one of the rare few who never even cramped on a period. I would tell you, the first time I felt my uterus cramp was in labor. I never got cramps or anything, but I did have heavy periods.
Okay.
So I would say starting from my early 20s until that point, my periods were disturbingly heavy.
Okay.
But you know what we do. What do we do when we have a health problem?
We ignore?
Or we go to Google.
You're right.
We go to Google. We go to Google, and you know, Google told me that it was normal. Like, some people have heavy periods, some people don't. So I never really brought it up with my doctor because I felt like, well, it's just I'm surviving. I'm alive. I'm okay. I'm not in pain. When I did go to my doctor and I did write it on the paper, it would be like she would never address it. So like everything else looked good and she never addressed it, so I never saw it to be a point of issue. So when at that point, from a blood draw test, I'm being told to go to my OB, I didn't know what to think, because I'm like, I've been fine, I'm okay. It turned out I had fibroids. I had multiple fibroids and I had no idea. And a symptom of fibroids, and I'll explain what a fibroid is, but a symptom of it could be heavy blood loss during your period. And so it did kind of like add up, but I was a bit disappointed as to how I had gone so long in my life. Maybe I got the fibroids that year, maybe not, but I felt like there was nothing that prepared me for it. And so let's talk a little bit about like what a fibroid is and fertility and all of that. So starting with fibroids.
Fibroids, fertility,
and PCOS. Okay.
The differences.
So I would say let's start with like anatomy, right? Okay. As women, we have uterus. Go ahead. Come on, tell me what we got.
Fallopian tubes.
And
ovaries.
And
vagina.
Yes.
The clitoris.
Yes. Very important. Yeah, it counts. It's a part of eggs.
Oh, okay.
Right, and there's more, right? But I'm just thinking like, obviously we know what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we have a reproductive system.
Yeah.
Right, and it's a system that's a part of our general health.
Yeah.
And so it operates in conjunction with other parts of our body to help us maintain a balance of health. Okay. So when one system is in disarray, it could be a cause of other factors. Gotcha. And so with our reproductive system, what helps us maintain our health as women and to be therefore able to reproduce, there are so many factors involved. So when we talk about something like infertility, it's not fair to say like, oh, you just can't get pregnant. Mm-hmm. There are so many other factors that pertain to infertility. So the definition of infertility, especially when it comes to female infertility, because there's male infertility too, but for females, it's the essence of a man and a woman having intercourse without protection and not being able to get pregnant for at least a year. So you have to be deemed as infertile. You have had to be having constant sex for an extended period of time. And if within that year you're not getting pregnant, then we can assume that there is an infertility issue. And so we can look at the big scope of things in terms of what in our system is an issue. Is it our hormones? Is it that we have something going wrong with our uterus? Is it with our ovaries? Cysts, so many other things are related into what infertility pertains to. And so it's such a complicated issue that I can't even explain in like fine-tuned details, but it's more than just saying that we've been having sex. Yeah. It's really about like what components of our bodies are at an imbalance, or are they dysfunctional? Yeah. And so one dysfunction of the reproductive system could be PCOS. Okay. So PCOS, it stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. Okay. It is a hormonal issue. Okay. And so what it is that our ovaries are producing too many follicles, and it could be resulting in having an irregular cycle. Okay, now what do you mean by follicles? Like the hair? Yeah, I guess you can think of it like that. So like with a typical cycle should be about 28 to 35 days. Okay. And so for a woman who has PCOS or has an imbalance somewhere, their cycle may be longer than that, or it may be shorter than that. So the hormones that are being produced in that cycle are being overproduced. Because imagine if you're supposed to have a 35-day cycle and you're having a 42-day or 50-day cycle. Your body's still producing those hormones, and so now you're getting more and more and more follicles on that ovary, which are causing it to be enlarged, and therefore causing it to delay the ovulation piece. You see what I mean by complex?
It's a ripple effect.
It is a ripple effect. So women with PCOS have irregular periods. They may have other issues of a hormonal imbalance, like maybe having excessive weight gain that they just can't seem to shake. Not to say that a slender woman cannot have PCOS. It could be other things like, a symptom could be like chin hair, like getting excess facial skin, right? Think of the hormones that men have that produce that. Women also have that same hormone too. But with something like PCOS, it's at an imbalance. Maybe it's too much of it. And so PCOS is a very unique situation, and I think it's very individualized. So your girlfriend who has it may not manifest in the same way that you may have it, but a doctor may consider treating it like by putting women on birth control. Especially if you're not trying to get pregnant. By being put on birth control, it helps with handling those hormonal imbalances. Some doctors suggest weight loss, like actively trying to get your metabolism to change. So therefore, by losing some weight, your hormones start to balance out. So PCOS is also known as like a endocrine system. It's not like just reproduction. It's also like how your metabolic system is being processed. And then finally, we have fibroids, which is a reproductive situation where there are benign growth tumors on the uterus. Benign means they're non-cancerous.
Okay.
So they're not causing cancer, right? Wow. So they grow, and I believe if you have one fibroid, you have many. So in many cases, they may see one on an ultrasound, but when they go in to remove them, they may find multiple. A symptom of fibroids can be heavy blood loss. It could also be pain to extent. For me, it was heavy blood loss, and for some women, they don't even know they have fibroids. So you can be asymptomatic, go your whole life or your reproductive years without knowing you have fibroids. So that doesn't mean that every fibroid needs to be treated, but for some cases it does. So like if you have a fibroid inside your uterus in an area where it's going to impact pregnancy, you may want to remove that. Because if it's there, it's going to be hard for the sperm to attach, right? And so it's a very wide array of issues, but this is what it is. And for me, when I found out I had the fibroids, at the same time we were trying to get pregnant, and I had seen multiple doctors, and they're like, honestly, your fibroids aren't causing infertility. Y'all just keep trying. You can take them out, you can leave them. And what happened, it was two things that happened. One, I had a girlfriend who had just gotten married and just gotten pregnant. And like literally a month or two into her pregnancy, she had to go on bed rest. Like she wasn't even showing, and she had to go on bed rest. And it's because she had fibroids that were so invasive that it was a danger to her pregnancy and to herself. And she spent her whole pregnancy
in the bed,
at home, in the bed upstairs. I'll never forget that. And it just broke my heart, because I was like, here's a healthy young woman, freshly newlywed, and she couldn't even enjoy her pregnancy. It put her through a deep depression, and it did impact her delivery. And then at the same time, I did get pregnant. We were trying for all this time, and I got pregnant, and just as I found out I was pregnant, I also miscarried. And so when I had inquired about it, my doctor said, like, it happens, women miscarry. But for me, I was like, I don't want this anymore. I don't want fibroids anymore. So I opted for surgery, and I did have a minimally invasive surgery to remove them. And personally, Nana, it changed my life. It was the best decision for me. And everyone has their own opinions about surgery. For me, I needed and wanted, and I'm happy that I got the myomectomy.
That's what it's called.
Yes, it's called a myomectomy. There are different types, different ways to remove it. But after we removed the fibroids, we waited for some time for my body to heal, and we started trying again, and it still took a long time to get pregnant. So now I have like a fibroid-free uterus. Let's have a baby. I wasn't getting pregnant. And I remember we started in January of 2017, and I told myself, if I don't get pregnant by December, I'm going to go and do some IVF, IUI, something. I'm going to do some fertility treatment. I'm not ashamed of it. And I was like, look, if I need it, I need it. And tell me why, 31st night, December of that year, 31st night, after 12 months of trying and crying and fighting and worrying, I took a pregnancy test because I missed my period. I never have missed my period before. And I was pregnant.
You're about to make me tear up.
The very last day of the year, after trying actively, I was pregnant. So I entered 2018 pregnant and had a beautiful, wonderful, it wasn't easy, but for the most part, a great pregnancy and delivery. Huge testimony. And so it looks different for many women. Not everyone has the same, outcomes or same, but for me, from the time I had gone through it to the time I had my baby, it was 5 years. It was 5 years of infertility. And for me, they said it was unexplained infertility, which is even more frustrating. Because it's different if you can say, I can't get pregnant because of this. But if everything else looks good and you're still not getting pregnant, you don't know the mind games that you play with yourself in terms of like what's wrong. And you go through it. and your girlfriends are getting pregnant and having babies. They're having second babies, some of them, and you're their doula, you know, and you're their friend, and you're their support. And I was, you know, even MC at some of their baby showers. Like, you're going through it emotionally and physically, and we press on. It's a very sensitive matter. As a Ghanian, I'm a Ghanian, so as an African Ghanaian, it is a very like taboo topic, especially for a young 20-something-year-old girl. What's wrong with you? What did you do that caused this? Right? There's so much blame or questioning of the woman as to why it's not happening, or do you want it, and all of those things. And it's a lot of weight, emotional weight to carry. But I think the way you carry it is your own. I think I chose not to dwell on it because I felt like deep in my soul I was going to get pregnant. And I felt it. I was like, I don't know when, but it's going to happen. And when the time comes, it will be right. So I look back at it not with regret. I look at it like it's a powerful testimony, and it was a worthy experience, a hard but worthy experience. I know, I just said a lot.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still like processing the fact that, you know, you kind of gave yourself a timeline, like yourself or probably got a timeline, like if it's not happening from this time to this time, then, but then you got,
I had made the appointment. The appointment was January 4th, 2018. So it wasn't, I was like, if I don't get pregnant now, it's okay. I'll try on this day. It was the first week of the new year. And so I still feel like I was still positive minded, because I was just like, if it doesn't happen, okay, I accept, Lord, I'll try another way. So that too, I think for some people, it's even hard for them to get to that point of saying you need help. Because a part of you is like, well, I've been pregnant before. I had a miscarriage. So technically I could get pregnant, right? So a part of you is just kind of thinking like you don't need help, or you don't want to do it that way. You want the Lord to, you know, open your womb, right? And he does. He opens it in multiple ways. He opens it naturally. He opens it with artificial support. He opens it with surrogacy, so many ways. So yeah, putting that timeline was for me to accept like it's okay to move on to the next step. And since then, I've never had to use any other resource outside of just nature. I've had 2 kids since then, and I'm grateful for it.
I feel like you went through majority of what we're going to discuss, but this is good.
I mean, no,
like you flowed. No, like we're almost done, to be honest. Wow.
Do you have like any thoughts or like input?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still processing everything that you told me. I feel like at some point I was tearing up. When you said that, you know, on December 31st, that's when like,
I mean, it sounds like so Christian.